Hi, everybody. We are lesson number 25, part 2, on how to handle the tough times. We're going to work our way on through this so we can try and learn how to have a way through the tough times. Learn some techniques, some tools. This week our Bible passage starts with John 8:32. It's, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you..." Oh, that didn't come out right. "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." That's John 8:32. So lesson 2, part 2, is all about how to handle your mistakes. And you know we all make them. But the key and the trick is not to make the same mistake twice. How many times do we do that? And we make the same mistake twice. It's like the Israelites going around the mountain for 40 years, trying to learn their lesson. I knew a prominent businesswoman one time, and she always said that he who stumbles twice on the same stone deserves to break his neck. So think about that one. If you haven't learned your lesson the first time around, then you really should learn your lesson the second time so that you don't have a third time and the fourth time with the same mistake. And if the same mistake keeps popping up, start asking yourself why. Why is the same mistake still always happening to me? Determine the reason for it and end it. Ask God. Always ask God. God answers things. I was standing with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and she had, I don't know why, we started talking about chickens and eggs and how do chickens make eggs. And I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. And we're all standing around wondering how a chicken forms an egg and pops the egg out on a daily basis. So what pops up on my phone today? A tutorial on how chickens make eggs. And I thought, well, look at that. God hears us and he answers us. And if you're not aware of this, you'll let it pass by. I smiled and I said, thank you, Lord, because I honestly did not know how a chicken made an egg. I do now. And I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to her. And I said, look, now we all know how the chicken makes the egg. So figure it out. Ask God, help me. Why am I always making the same mistake? I've made this mistake twice already, 3 times already. I don't want to make it 4th time. When we make mistakes, we will continually make mistakes, but don't make the same mistake twice. And when you know this, you have gained knowledge. It's another tool in your tool belt. And there's power in knowledge. There's definitely power in knowledge. And there's also power in prayer. And there's power in talking to God and asking him. And if you forget why, think about the chicken. And then you'll remember God somehow, some way will tell you, show you, educate you as to why this keeps occurring in your life. So let's look. We've got our last week we had our 3 action steps. This week we have our 3 action steps again too. And our first one is learn from your mistakes. And that's what we were just talking about. Knowledge is power. Learn from your mistakes. Mistakes actually do have positive qualities and characteristics. And the mistakes, they will help us grow. We learn from them, we grow from them, we move on. And through trial and error, we develop judgmental skills that help us with discernment and wisdom. and it aids in our growth and our maturity in life. Now, of course, we all know that one person who's clueless and just kind of fumbles on through life, and it seems like they never make mistakes. But I think that if you actually sat down and talked to them, they probably make more mistakes than you and I do. They just don't show them as well as we do. And always consider your mistakes a great teacher. They teach you what not to do. They teach you how to act in a certain situation. They teach you knowledge, discernment. So don't make your mistakes about something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be ashamed of. That's all the devil sitting there whispering in your head, whispering that you should feel ashamed, that you shouldn't feel as though a mistake can be knowledge. And again, through God, through prayer, ask him to turn it around so that not only you don't do that mistake a second time, but you've learned from it. Maybe it's some kind of a knowledge that you can share with somebody else so that they can learn from your mistakes. If they're willing to learn, maybe you can learn from their mistakes. I know years ago I said I make many mistakes, but I very rarely do I make the same mistake twice. Because I try to learn from them. I try to keep myself on a level where I can discuss stuff with God and seek his help. Seek him helping me. So let's look at our second positive action step, and that's replace error with truth. It's right here. Replace error with truth. So how many times do we actually, our own selves, create problems and issues and confrontations all within ourselves? We create our own drama. We stir our own pot. We have our own heads make up stories that probably aren't even true to everybody else. So what does it mean to replace error with truth? Align yourself with what God says. And we all know how to do that. You talk to him, you ask him, hey, Father, help me. Help me understand what's going on here. A lot of times it's nothing more than the devil creeping up your yin-yang and messing with your head. And remember, we talked about that before. Who likes to be laughed at? None of us like to be laughed at. But if you let the devil mess with you, that's what you're doing. So stop and say, Lord, why is this happening? Is it something that I can change? Some way that I can make things different? There's a old hymn, old hymn with the words, prone to error, Lord, I feel it. Because he puts the knowledge inside of us. And it gives us the sense that something isn't right. The error is there. We just have to figure out how to make it right. And we do that through talking with him, through prayer, through wondering, why? Why is this happening? We can feel it, but a lot of times we don't know how to correct it. We don't know what's going on. And that's when you stop. If you feel it, ask about it. If you feel it, investigate it. If you feel it, wonder about it. Replace the error with the truth. It's right here. Replace the error with the truth. Many times, the more errors you make, the more mistakes you make, the more wrong you'll do. So do you want to be that guy? The one that people whisper about? Because mistakes follow along after you. I don't think any of us want to be that person. That's the person that we all have a tendency to just look at. So be wise about your actions, about your thoughts. After listening to this, take an inventory of your own thoughts, of your own actions. I say, Lord, I'm making mistakes. I do that all the time. Lord, why am I always making mistakes? And then he corrects me. I read something, I hear something, somebody will bring up a Bible passage that'll make me look at something completely different. And then mistake goes away. And I use it as a learning tool. And you can too. You feel it and you don't know what to do about it, you don't know how to correct it, talk to God. Because remember, that's the devil. And we talked about that a couple weeks ago. How do you like to be laughed at? It's a number one question. Do you like to be laughed at? And that's all the devil does, is he laughs at you. But truth comes from God. Correction comes from God. Knowledge comes from God. Making you aware of what needs to be fixed comes from God, because he's there. Just like maybe a lot of you are parents and you're watching your children and you correct them. And you tell them, don't do that because that'll hurt you. Don't do that because you'll harm someone else. Don't do that because maybe it's something that doesn't taste good. I remember when my sons were growing up and they were ready to put their hand right on top of the stove. No, don't do that because that'll burn your little fingers. You have to constantly watch them. And that's what God is doing to you. He's constantly watching you, steering you, moving you, changing you, talking to you. But are you aware of it? Are you aware of his words? Are you aware of him being there and talking with you? As Christians and God's children, yeah, you are. You know him. He's in here. You know what he feels like. You know what he sounds like. So you start to ask him, help me to overcome my errors. Help me to overcome my mistakes. Help me to learn the truth so that I don't do this a second time, a third time, a fourth time. Because I don't want to. Doesn't mean you aren't going to make another mistake. Doesn't mean that your whole life isn't going to be a series of mistakes. Because it is. I know mine is. But I'm to the point where I don't usually make the same mistake twice. And don't try to rationalize your errors with truth. Make your own truth. Because is that fair? Is that fair to you? Is that fair to the next guy? Is that fair to the Father? Where he's trying to correct you and you're trying to make a justification as to why you did something, why you said something. And he's trying to correct you and tell you that that's not the way it should be. That's wrong. And we all know that. We know right from wrong. We can pretend like we don't know it, but we know right from wrong. So remember that error is error, truth is truth, and the two of them shouldn't meet. There should be no parallel between error and truth. If you're erring, talk to God. He'll give you your truth. So let's look at our last action step. But before we do, let's actually talk about truth for a minute. A lot of times words can be said, and I don't know about you, but I wonder to myself, what exactly does that mean? What does that mean? Error is error, truth is truth. Words just, what does that mean? So let's look at the dictionary. The dictionary is a beautiful tool to explain what a word means and give a different turn on it. So what you think it means might not be actually what it is, what it does mean. So the dictionary defines truth as a conformity to fact or an actuality. So something that is actual. And in this case, the actuality is the reality of the situation. What is going on? The facts or the facts of the matter. So think about what you're doing. What are the facts? What can you define as your truth? And truth is a noun. And nouns, we know that when we had our English language, or our English lesson quite a few lessons ago. It refers to a thing, a person, an animal, a place, a quality, an idea, an action. That's what a noun does. That's what a truth is. So a truth is, it's an idea, it can be an action. Your truth could be a way of life for you. So think about truth as a noun, a person, a place, a thing, an idea, an action. And then you'll be able to define what it is you're thinking and where you're going to go with it and what makes sense to you. So that way you have your reality of the situation, and then over here you have your fallacy of the situation, what you wish it was, what you hope it is, what it could be, and what it's not. And the two can't meet because they're on different levels. What is make-believe in your own head is not a truth according to what God puts in front of you. A noun names something. So your truth will name something. Let's think of an example, stopping at a red light. The truth is, and you just got a ticket because you went through the red light and you got pulled over, and you tell the police, the light wasn't red. And he said, yeah, the light was red and you didn't stop. And so you've just named your truth as the light wasn't red. But the error here is it was red because you saw it red, but you didn't want to wait because if you got through that red light, then you didn't have to wait for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other portions of traffic to go through that major intersection. Because a lot of times we have left turns and then we have to wait for our lane, and then we have to wait for those lanes over there. And if you just get through that red light, then you could just keep on going and you don't have to sit there and wait the extra 4 minutes waiting for all the other traffic to go by. We've all done it. We all done it. There was a movie one time where the think it was Jeff Bridges or Bo Bridges, and he was an alien who came down, and he was talking about the traffic signals. Green means go, red means stop, and yellow means hurry up and get through so you don't have to sit there and wait. We've all done that. But yet when you get pulled over after you get through it, and then you're going to try and murk up the truth with a fallacy. It was a yellow light when I went through it. And you're still going to get the ticket because the reality of the situation, the truth of the situation is the light was red and you went through it. And then you have to pay your ticket because it's not really a good idea to stand up in front of a judge and lie even more. It's kind of like lying about a lie. So remember that the truth is the opposite of an error. And God will help you understand what your truths are. So take responsibility for your errors. Unglue yourself from the pity pot that everything is against you. And stand up and be responsible for what your truths are. And brush aside your errors. And talk to God about it. Help me fix this. Help me understand that I don't want to have these errors anymore. So let's look at our number 3. Eliminate the cause. Remember, errors cause mistakes.
Yes.
And truth causes, I guess, an even flow of reality. But error causes mistakes. And we have, we're pivotal on causing errors and destroying our own selves. We destroy ourselves with low self-esteem, with depression, with weakness, with not thinking that we're good enough. We could just make up a whole laundry list of I can't do it because I'm afraid. I can't do it because nobody likes me. I can't do it because I'm feeling depressed today. But if you make a prayer about it, Lord, help me unglue from this pity pot so that I can stand up. People don't look at you and say, "Oh, I don't like them because they're not pretty," or "I don't like them because their hair isn't right." People look at you and they just see you. So, and they don't know what you're thinking. They don't know the words that are going to be coming out of your mouth, but you do. So, stop destroying yourself. Eliminate the cause. Right here, number 3, eliminate the cause. The attributes that you have inside of you were put there by God. And what is the devil going to do? He's going to destroy them, and he's going to nick away at them point by point by point. And if you let him, then you're going to destroy yourself. And it serves no purpose. So stand up, brush yourself off, start enhancing your self-esteem. We did that months ago. We had a challenge of enhancing the self-esteem. Don't let the devil laugh at you anymore. We talk about that so many times. Don't let the devil laugh at you anymore. So let's ask God together. Lord, please drive out the error and the confusion in me and fill me with your truth and your understanding. Let's say that again. Lord, please drive out the error and the confusion in me and fill me with your truth and your understanding. So in the morning time, here's a new challenge for you. This is on tape, so you can just hit the rewind button and say it as many times. You can actually put it in slow motion. There's subtitles on that screen. And you can write it down, tape it to your bathroom window, your mirror, your bathroom mirror. So you see it. Lord, please drive out the error and the confusion in me and fill me with your truth and your understanding. That's just like Matthew 16:34, I think it is. Satan, get behind me, for you are an offense to me. You are not the ways of God, but the ways of the world. And our final one here, our positive affirmation, is fill your mind with truth, and the truth will cast out the error. So that's your challenge for the week, to do that little, whoops, our paper fell down, to do that little prayer, to talk to God, to change your errors from being mistakes to being the truth in your life. And here, we all know the serenity prayer from the AA people and the NA people. But here I found this one here. This is called our other serenity prayer. It's, God, grant me the serenity to stop beating myself for not doing things perfectly, the courage to forgive myself because I am working on doing better, and the wisdom to know that you already love me just the way I am. So there's another one for you. So there you've got a couple of tools to work with this week, concluding up our lesson number 2 on how to get through the tough times. And don't forget JuanitaFolsomMinistries.com. She has a website, a PayPal link if you want to send in a donation. Without her and her crew, we wouldn't have this time together. So let's say a prayer. Lord, I pray that the words that you spoke to everybody tonight touches them, that they find their truth, and that they can set their errors aside. And I ask you all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, and then we'll see you next week, and we'll do lesson number 3 on how to get through the hard times.